Welcome to Book Bites with Rebecca and Rebecca.
Whetting your appetite for your next read.
Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of Book Bites. I'm Rebecca Reed from rural Indiana, and this is my partner in books, Rebecca Yager from Dallas, Texas. And we're here to chat books with Ronda Wells, and has written many books, but this one particularly is called Harvest of Hope. And so we're going to dive right in. Welcome, Ronda. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you, Rebecca and Becky. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So just tell us a little bit about the book. Tell us a little bit about, what sparked this story, and maybe a little bit about, your favorite. Just give us some details so we can kind of
All right.
understand it. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing was, this book, I've been working on this book probably like 25 years. So this is the book, that I've been worked on the longest. And it has won awards, but I'd never gotten published because every time I went to publish something, the industry had changed and then something moved on. So I've got like 6 or 7 drafts on the shelf here, and I had really bad pneumonia last year and ended up in the hospital. And I thought, I can do this now. I got enough friends. I can just self-publish these. So that's what I decided to do. What I had, I'm just going to self-publish. I have an idea for a romantic suspense series that, again, has already won 2 awards. And I'm going to try to find a publisher for that one. But this story came about because most people are too young. Bridges in Madison County. And it was set in Kansas. And I think Deb Rainey has even kind of written a book in that area. And what happened was they sent the location scout to Kansas to get a contract to film at the house that the author described. And most people don't remember this, but it was an elderly couple that owned the house. They were devout Christians. And they said, no. The movie is about adultery. And we oppose it. We don't like the book and this whole thing. And so they kind of looked like, American Gothic on the TV. Everybody interviewed them, the husband and the wife standing there like that. And they were mocking Christianity right and left for this kind of a, thing. But bottom line was they had to film someplace else. So I got the idea. I was like, what if the person who comes from Hollywood to rent the house ends up flipping and become, she's already a Christian as it turns out. But what happens with that story? And what happens if she gets stranded in a blizzard and has to live with them? Even more. So that's where it came from.
Okay. Wow. That sounds cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's a veterinarian. He's the rancher. His parents technically don't own the house anymore, but she doesn't know that because it's in a trust. And the papers quite haven't gone through, so he doesn't tell her that he's going to be the trustee. They're just trying to get her out the door as fast as they can. And of course, he breaks his leg because a bull stomps on him, and he doesn't have anybody drive him around. And she is trying to save her job in Hollywood. So there's the rest of the plot. So
go ahead.
I
You have something?
He needs a chauffeur and a veterinary. He says, I call it All Creatures Great and Small meets, what would you call it? Meets Hollywood, basically. So.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. The other thing is they have more in common than they realize.
Right.
Once they get to talking, they were both jilted. So in the past, and they have a lot more in common than they know. So.
Well, as you're writing and getting to know these characters and as they're talking, was there anything during the course of the book that surprised you? Did the characters surprise you or go down a different road that you weren't anticipating? Anything like that?
Yeah, originally I wrote it so that she was not a Christian and had to come to faith. But it was such a problematic plot to do that. So she actually becomes a lapsed Christian, and she got a mother that I didn't know she had. And it helped that my daughter worked in New York for 2 casting directors and also for the Juilliard Theater Department. So I would hear her talking, and it helped me shape that character a little bit better because she's really an associate producer. And this is her last gasp to try and save her job. And her stepfather is the ultimate producer. And if you can kind of think of Quentin Tarantino, kind of as a bloody movie, what happened was the hero's best friend wrote a book and set it at this beautiful house, old mansion in Kansas, but he didn't tell them he was doing that. So the book came out, of course, at the New York Times bestseller list, and of course, they now want to make the movie there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Trail on all fronts.
So did you have a favorite scene that you can share, or some, maybe give the reader, if it's something that has spoilers, we don't want that.
Yeah.
But if it is
Well,
early enough you could share, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I like the wreck in the first chapter. She's this typical, sorry, California girl, and that's apologies to Chris Billerbeck, who's a very good friend of mine, and is definitely a California girl. But, she's in Kansas. She didn't check the weather, and she doesn't realize you don't get GPS everywhere. And she also didn't know there was a blizzard bearing down on them. So she's not dressed for the weather. Let's just put it that way. So, and of course, her car stalls and cuts out. It's a rental. And then he is coming home from an emergency call. And of course, the storm is so bad, he doesn't see her. So he literally plows right into her. He's got his plow going on his truck and knocks her off the road. So I do like that. So that's a good scene because she doesn't know who he is. So, she falls in the snow. She's getting hypothermic. So he just picks her up, carries her to the truck. And she doesn't know if he's a serial killer or what, And so she starts attacking him. So literally hitting him.
Okay, so you definitely have the enemies to more.
Yes, this is
vibe going
definitely
on.
yes, this is a frenemies plot, start to finish. Yep. So, but she
Okay.
does begin to appreciate. She grew up partly between her mother, who was a makeup artist in Hollywood. That's how she met the second husband, the stepfather. And she had a grandmother who raised her when the mom was traveling, and she stayed with her in the summer. And she was more a rural California place. So she's used to being in rural, begins to remember things that she liked about that. So,
Okay. So, um, we always like side characters. Do you have any specific side characters
oh,
that we
Tilly.
should
Oh, I
be?
love, yes, Tilly. Tilly is the local librarian. She's also the gal who does everything at church, little old lady. And she's also the world's worst gossip spreader when it comes
Oh,
to matchmaking and putting people together and talking about so and so, like so and so. So Tilly is an adorable character. She's best friends with Josh's mom, and so she's in there a lot. And she's also she also writes a column for the newspaper as well. So she's kind of a jack of all trades. Like she's going in her 80s, and still very spry. And I just love her because she was a lot of fun to write. So
She
especially when
sounds
they say
fun.
things around her they shouldn't, or she's and they're like, oh dear, Tilly knows.
Right.
oh, it sounds like Tilly's going to add some flavor to this book.
Oh yeah,
I
Tilly
like it.
knows all. Yeah, and he has a lot of some of the characters actually comes from the animals, like all creatures great and small. I mean, there's a woman that has a Vietnamese pig that's a pet.
Yeah.
So, there's all kinds of craziness going on with the animals. And that actually was one of my favorite series when I was in med school, which is very stressful the first year. And that was about the time that the first All Creatures Great Small book came out. And I read it and I laughed till I cried because some of the scenes were so funny. And I learned, believe it or not, anatomy and physiology. I learned stuff from his books. I was getting it, like, oh, yeah, do that in people too. Well, the funny thing is, I didn't realize until about 2 months ago, we were cleaning out and I had my books up there, my All Creatures series, and it's signed by James Herriot. I thought,
Oh,
wait a minute, how did I do this? He never came. What? And then it finally came back. I had contacted his publisher in New York, who contacted his publisher in London, and we sent it to him.
Wow.
He signed the cover for me and it came back, and it's wonderful because he said he signed it Professor Harriet, which, because I told him, I said, you teach physiology better than my professor. Sorry. So he was tickled by that. So
I like that. Oh,
Yeah,
what a great story.
because I kept looking at that. Wait a minute, that's his signature. What's going on here? Who signed this?
Wow. Well, it sounds like this is going to be fantastic. And when
I
does
hope
it
so.
release? When
It
are
will
you
release
releasing?
June the 2nd.
June the 2nd.
June the
So,
2nd, yep.
not too long after
No,
this
yes.
airs,
The cover should be
you'll
done this
be
week.
able to look for it and find it. Sorry.
That's
And
right.
Very good.
yes.
All right,
And
really briefly, Rhonda,
Yes.
you wrote a book called The Christmas Cherub,
Yes.
and there's going to be a
A second
sequel?
one.
Ooh.
Yes. Yes. Christmas Cherub was inspired by a local Indianapolis tradition, which is true. They do put out a brass statue on the old Ellis Ayres clock every year since 1947, save one, because it's the angel that looks over the shoppers during the Christmas season, basically, is how it ended up being. And so I got inspired by the story of how it came to be and wove a love story, a historical romance around it. So, and the next one will be Roman Holiday, Roamin apostrophe holiday, and it's a princess story.
oh,
Love
cool.
that. Oh boy,
Nice.
lots to look forward to.
Yeah,
So
well, it involves the Indianapolis 500, and we get royalty here all the time with the Indy 500. So,
True. Tell us how do we can get in touch with you, how your readers can find you, website, all of that good stuff.
website is Ronda Wells Books, and you can contact me from email from there or Rhonda at rondawellsbooks.com, I think. And there's also just Ronda Wells Books at yahoo.com. I have way too many email addresses right now.
I think RhondaWellsBooks.com.
Yeah, at yahoo.com. And then there's Rhonda at rondawells.com and all that kind of stuff. But anyway,
So
I'd
find
love to
Ronda
have them sign
Wells,
up for my newsletter. What's that?
and it's spelled R-O. There's
Oh,
no
yeah,
H.
no H on my name.
Yes.
I was named for
Okay.
my father, Ronald.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh,
that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool.
great.
yeah.
All right. So Rhonda with no H, RhondaWellsBooks.com. Y'all keep an eye out. Go to her website. And I'm sure you're going to post news of when
Oh,
Harvest
yeah.
of Hope
I in fact, this
releases.
newsletter I got to get out because I missed
Great.
January, had foot surgery at the end of the year, and I didn't get much done. So,
Yeah. The beginning of the year it was a little slow getting
well, the weather
moving.
here was
Yeah.
terrible. And then there was the flu epidemic here. So it was like, I'm not going anywhere. But then again, I didn't feel like going anywhere.
Well, there you go. Well, we're glad you're out and about, and we are
I
so
am
glad
too.
you
Yes.
joined us today. Everyone,
Thank
look
you.
for Harvest of Hope. This sounds like one you can't miss, and I want to read all about Tilly too. So,
Oh, yeah. 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 Billy's a great character.
Yes, thank
so
you for being on. We appreciate it so much, and we'll be
Oh,
looking
thank you for
forward
having
to
me.
reading the book. So,
I
all
love the
right.
name of this, Book Bites. It's so cute.
thank you.
Well,
Well,
speaking of that,
there we go.
our next one
Yeah, it's
is going to be after this one is, well, we have a regular episode first, right? In between.
yes. We're going to
Yes.
review the Copper Scrolls by Nicholas T. Garden,
Yes.
who's a new author
Oh,
to us.
yeah. Yeah. I've
And
And
seen it come
then,
through.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, good.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
we're going to be talking on Book Bites with Trisha Goyer, with her Flight of Fate. Her and her son write those together, so
Yeah.
that's
The one
pretty
that they did.
exciting.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
So be looking for those.
Good
Right. We
lineup.
had spoken with Trisha and Nathan last year about Breath of Bones, and this is the sequel to Breath of Bones. So lots coming up. Check out our website at RebeccaandRebecca.com. You can find the list of upcoming book bites, the calendar there as we get it, and then, of course, our regular podcast too. And you can catch the dates for The Copper Scrolls by Nicholas T. Garden and everything else we have coming up. But meanwhile, Harvest of Hope by Rhonda Wells at rondawellsbooks.com. Rhonda, thank you once again
Thank
for
you.
being here. All right. And we look forward to seeing everyone next time. So
Yep.
take care.
Bye.